Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality who really needs something to cheer me up. So we're not going to be looking at another I Spit on Your Grave movie. Not yet, anyway. Got enough real shit going on. I'm feeling like a different movie in a different location, with different art direction, set during a different time period. But when you're trying to get away from it all to that much of an extreme, I mean, what choices are there? Where the hell am I going to find some comic book movie with DC characters set in anime-style feudal Japan with no regard for logic or sanity? I mean, besides Batman Ninja, I suppose. Released just last year in 2018, Batman Ninja was produced in Japan, written by Kazuki Nakashima, though the English version, written by Leo Chu and Eric S. Garcia, isn't so much of a translation as an entirely original writing, said to be around 90% different from the Japanese version. However, in both stories, Batman is sent back in time to feudal Japan, along with a collection of only the most popular Batman villains, who are now Japanese warlords, who he must defeat if he ever wants to go back to the future. And if he had just built the Batmobile on top of a DeLorean in the first place, he would never have been in this mess. But let's take a look at Batman Ninja and just maybe remember what it's like to smile. We open on a dark and stormy narration.
You think you've heard every Batman story? I promise you haven't.
No, dear viewer. This motherfucker's been around for 80 years, and DC is going to continue to milk him for 800 more if they can. Seems while locked away at Arkham, Gorilla Grodd built a newfangled machine, and Batman has come to stop whatever it is. Also, Catwoman is there, and, like, everyone at Arkham Asylum, so that when the thing, of course, fires up, releasing a big fucking energy ball of space-twisting time warp powers, the whole fucking place can get sucked into it, along with Batman.
What?
Sending him back in time, which also somehow transports him from Gotham City into Japan. Oh, time and space are linked, but if we're going that route, he's more likely to just wind up in some random-ass part of the solar system, just floating around, dead as shit. It seems there aren't many Batman fanatics back in feudal Japan, but a quick note could explain why.
It's Japanese. And that's me.
I'm not so certain. I mean, yeah, it does have the big mask going on, but that frown there is a lot less Bruce Wayne and a lot more James Rolfe. No need to read Japanese, because the contents of the note are played out for us right away. A small group of masked warriors close in and do battle with the Batman. Poorly, allowing Batman, voiced by Roger Craig Smith, to interrogate one of them.
We were sent to find a man dressed as a bat. Our master has ordered us to kill him on sight.
Who's your master?
Dude, he's running around in a white mask with big fucking red lips on a giant-ass smile. World's greatest detective, everyone. He doesn't get the answer he so desperately needs, though, as more warriors are closing in. A quick escape via grappling hook. Never mind, no skyscrapers. Oh well, exit stage left, and he can spend the opening credits running off into the night, trying to figure out just what in the hell is going on.
None of this makes any sense. Everything's offline. But from the look of it, this is ancient Japan.
And ancient Japan should have internet access. Their technology has always been years ahead of the West. Which he can clearly see with very industrial-looking buildings. Going in to find out what that's all about reveals it to be exactly what we expect.
The Joker?
That's right, Bats. It is I.
Damn you!
The Joker! A total surprise! To anyone who hasn't paid attention to literally any other Batman universe, or the very obvious masks from earlier. The Joker is voiced by Tony Hale, and he's here with Harley Quinn, voiced by Tara Strong. They're here because of that big damn time warp, in case, like Batman, you also struggle with the obvious.
Guess I have that monkey to thank for this. If it wasn't for his stupid machine, this tiny island would have never been on my itinerary.
Oh, come on, Joker. You have no idea how much money people would pay to see the Joker ex Yakuza set in Akihabara. Now that he's found himself in Japan, the Joker has become a feudal lord, granting him great power over the land and her people. So, best to kill the Batman before he fucks that up. While the animation style of very low frame rate, cel-shaded CGI doesn't exactly suit my tastes for the dialogue scenes, I must admit it works well for the action sequences. After avoiding the Joker's attacks, a mix of his classic tricks combined with Japanese fashion, Batman then has to avoid the attacks of a handful of Joker's samurai. He does this by running the fuck away.
Move! He can't be far!
a super stealthy maneuver, escaping into the shadows with the power of the bat. Until all of the blood pools in his head and he passes out, I suppose. I guess he's not that well hidden anyway, as it doesn't take long before he's spotted, and by Catwoman no less, voiced by Grey Griffin.
How did you get here?
Same as you, Gorilla Grodd's time machine. That was 2 years ago.
So the time travel wasn't exactly precise. People who wound up in the warp seconds later ended up in Japan years apart. Though time and space are linked, as I said, so logically speaking, if we're going this route, some poor bastards in Arkham wound up in Uranus. Fortunately for the two of them, Batman's batteries still have more than enough juice left, allowing them to establish more plot points via a handy-dandy helmet-mounted projector. It would seem even more people were present that night besides Batman and Catwoman. Like, all the Robins. Robin, Nightwing, Red Robin, and Red Hood just so happen to be there, but in the 2 years, Catwoman has no idea where they've wound up. However, it's not just the convenient army of good guys who got caught in the time warp. This was Arkham, after all, and thus most of the inmates were ignored, and only the recognizable Batman villains came over. Penguin, Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, and Two-Face. And despite the obvious language barrier, they somehow have managed to do quite well for themselves in ancient Japan, becoming feudal lords, effectively changing the timeline, not all that much, and just inserting themselves as the leaders of the various factions of Japan, vying for control.
But right now, the feudal lord who is closest to unifying Japan is the Joker.
Wait, is this setting up the movie or an open-world Batman Ninja video game? If it is, it looks like it has co-op, as Selina convinces Batman that they should join forces. After all, who can say no to those tig old biddies? She knows the Joker is in possession of Gorilla Grodd's time machine, and also helps Batman blend in with the times.
There were quite a lot of Christian missionaries that came to Japan during this era. This way you won't look too suspicious as a Westerner.
Yeah, Joker's sending everyone out to go kill the Batman. The last person they'll suspect in ancient Japan is the white guy walking around with a big fucking bat on his head. Their work is cut out for them, after all. The Joker is utilizing technology that should not yet exist to fuel his army, and they're just two Westerners in questionable attire. Who could possibly help them?
Is this black tea?
Hard to come by in this neck of the woods. Hope you find it to your liking.
Alfred.
Okay, did they miss that part in the recording earlier where Alfred just so happened to be at Arkham 2 cleaning the windows? Actually, according to the explanation they give, he was hanging out in the Batmobile, which also just so happened to be caught in the blast. I guess he was in the back seat the whole time and Bruce just forgot.
I, for one, have always wanted to visit this beautiful country, but I'd much prefer to do so in my own time.
All of the pocky and anime titties, and none of this bothersome history and culture. You might think Alfred here has absolutely no alterations for his Japanese-themed design, but nope, he's got one of those tight ponytails you see in feudal Japan. And old men having trouble coping with hair loss. No time for chit-chat, though, as the Joker attacks. Luckily for our hero, he just so happened to get his handy-dandy Batmobile back, and uses it to take the fight to Lord Joker.
He's nothing without his stupid Batmobile, which gives me an interesting idea.
Trap the Batman in a giant hamster wheel and just wait for it to run out of gas. Or destroy the Batmobile. Guess that could work. First, the Joker tries caltrops. After this fails, like it has every single time anyone has tried using them to take out the Batmobile, he moves on to Plan B. Or, as he likes to call it, Plan Turn This Castle into a Fightin' Ass Fortress of Robot-Armed Awesomeness B. With the robot arms, the Joker grabs the Batmobile, intent on crushing it, along with its gooey center. But Batman is prepared, breaking off the extra pieces to reveal the Bat-Jet inside, which the Joker straight up fucking impales, so he breaks off even more of the machine to reveal it was in fact the Bat-Motorcycle all along.
It's over, Joker. You're through.
Hold on, Batman, he still has to wreck your bike, at which point you reveal it's actually the Bat Skateboard, until you try grinding on a samurai sword and it's reduced to Bat Rollerblades. Batman can't stop the Joker, though, as there's a handy-dandy innocent woman and child he's about to crush, which Batman could stop by punching the Joker out right now, but instead, he heads right the fuck down there to help her, and winds up running into Bane. Now Japanified, he's a goddamn sumo wrestler. However, the Bat-Bike transforms into a mecha armored suit, and I presume this fight is going to go on until it's reduced to a Bat-Thong. There's some pow and zap imagery for you. With possibly the most literal interpretation of plot armor, Batman easily tosses aside Bane, and we never see him again. Thus, he can sacrifice his power armor and save the innocent woman and child.
Get moving. I'll hold them off. Huh?
Hold this!
Which it turns out was Harley Quinn this whole time. Which really did not come out of left field, considering it's not the first time in this movie she's pulled off a very convincing disguise. So while that army, Mecha Castle, and Bane himself weren't really a problem, Harley's mallet was just too much, leaving Batman completely winded, and allowing the villains to gloat that he's nothing without his Batmobile, and without his friends here to help him, he will surely die! Which means a sudden swarm of bats shows up to help him.
What? Ninja Batman!
Or Batman ninjas! Turns out he's been a very popular choice for cosplay for a really long fucking time. The ninja bats quite literally swoop in to save the day, taking Batman far, far away, and we learn that this was all orchestrated by those missing friends from earlier. Nightwing, voiced by Adam Crossadell, same as Alfred, and then there's Red Robin, voiced by Will Friedle. Then there's the local help.
This is Aeon. He was a great help to us after we arrived here. He's the leader of the Ninja Clan.
Ninja Clan?
Yeah, I guess having a ninja clan running around feudal Japan is a lot to take in after getting your ass kicked by a castle with arms. Aeon is voiced by Matthew Yang King, and explains that Batman here just so happens to be the Chosen One. Legends about some great bat shinobi crossing the Sea of Time, bring land to prosperity, all that jazz.
This is the hour of our destiny.
Even Batman looks like, ugh, this Chosen One shit again. A man can't leave his home going thousands of miles away and hundreds of years into the past without still being the goddamn Chosen One, can he? This does provide Batman and friends with a safe haven, a land far away from Arkham's feudal lords, hidden, completely secret, and, oh yeah, it looks like a giant fucking bat.
Looks like a nice place.
Yes, but for how long?
You think you finally found a nice bat cave, but before long you can't use your bat computer because Robin's been using all the bandwidth on his Xbox, Catwoman has destroyed all of the curtains, and don't even get me started on the guano. He figures they're fucked anyway because the Joker's destroyed all his wonderful toys, so what then can they possibly do?
Batman! Monkichi has a message for you.
Monkichi?
Never mind bat bubbles for a second here, let's just say that's not the strangest thing going on in this scene. This is Robin, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. Yeah, he's friends with a monkey now, but more importantly, the hair. After I called creepy in the middle of the night, crying and hysterical, he slowly explained to me that this was actually a traditional hairstyle for apprentices in feudal Japan, and as Robin is effectively an apprentice superhero to his master Batman, it does make sense that his redesign for this movie would incorporate that style. And it does ensure that if he tries to do any heroics on his own, fucking no one is gonna take him seriously. Seems the monkey got a note from someone in the mountain. That someone is none other than Gorilla Grodd, voiced by Fred Tatascore. Tatascore? Fred. He has requested Batman join him in the hot springs.
I'm guessing you didn't invite me here just to join you for a hot soak.
Such impatience.
Okay, Batman. You'll find the ring under the banana. No. The banana. Grodd explains that he built the time machine pretty much for his shits and giggles, and he was going to send everyone in Arkham, elsewhere, so that he could take over Gotham without their interference, but darn it, Batman just had to show up and ruin everything, and now they're involved in some weird project with a Japanese animation studio. But they could get back to their own time if they can get the time machine from the Joker.
I'll be the bait. It's the best way to draw out the Joker.
My old strategy of luring him out with a Bugs Bunny-inspired cross-dressing trap just never worked, and it was incredibly chafing. So they team up, heading out on a boat. The two of them soon encounter Joker's much larger and far more gaudy vessel. The Joker also seems conveniently dim all of a sudden.
I told you I'd spare your life in exchange for the Batman. So where is he? Huh?
Right here!
So, Batman is the best bait, but it wasn't Batman he came out for, but the promise of Batman. Oh well, as long as it moves the plot forward, right? Batman's surprise is the army of ninja Batman surrounding the Joker's ship. Oh well, that's nothing a handy-dandy lineup of ancient feudal Japanese machine gun turrets can't take care of. Or perhaps it is, as we find out Batman's tiny rowboat is actually just the surface deck of a submarine. And he still has that army of ninjas because the bamboo breathing straws were just decoys. Thus, the action is underway. Again, very nicely cut and animated. It does help to make the art direction grow on me when it plays completely to its strengths in scenes like this. After beating his silly ass, Batman has the Joker and Harley captured. But the Joker has some ominous words about Batman's newfound friendship.
Oh, I'd be careful. If he turned on me, he'll turn on you.
Hush, Joker. We must wait before revealing the plot twists. Wait about 5 seconds as Gorilla Grodd reveals he was in fact evil all along. He will turn the Bat Clan against Batman with mind control. Which doesn't work.
We cannot be shaken by your evil thoughts. We have mastery over our bodies and our minds!
It would be a little more impressive if they had established the mind control did actually work before now. For all I know, he found that thing in a Cracker Jack box. No bother, he has a backup plan anyway. Rain death from above! It just so happens he has already formed an alliance with Two-Face, in the event of such a situation. Well, we're all betraying each other. Why not have Catwoman swipe the power converter from Harley and use it to ally herself with Gorilla Grodd? Finally, amidst all the chaos, Harley and the Joker have managed to break free of their binds. But it's not over yet. Joker intends to kill the Batman by blowing up the entire boat and everyone on it!
You killed yourself!
Ah, that's what I've been trying to tell you, you stupid bat! I'm having a party in hell!
One of those extremely dangerous, time-sensitive situations where Batman has to figure out in the blink of an eye, what is he going to do? Who is he going to save? Where is he going to put the bomb? Just how is he going to—
Joker, no!
Guess this isn't getting a sequel then. We're barely 40 minutes in, so moving on, we quickly see that all the other Batman villains turned into feudal lords also have their own power converter, and Gorilla Grodd is going to need all 4 if he wants to fire the time machine back up. Thus, he's organized a grand contest where the 4 lords will meet in battle to fight over who gets the goodies. More importantly, surprising no one, Batman is still alive!
How long have I been out?
2 whole days, sir.
Well, fuck, in that case, wake me up on Friday. May as well, as Batman here feels less a hero and more a buff, healthy, highly skilled time-traveling loser, with how he lost the Batmobile and fell for that trick.
So many lost and injured because I was blind to Grodd's betrayal, but ultimately to myself. And yet they still insist on calling me master.
So what are you gonna do?
Nightwing! God damn it, how many times have I told you, don't sneak up on me like that? That's my job! It's at this point that Batman realizes that the reason he's fucked up so bad is because he was trying to take on feudal Japan like modern Gotham City, with the Batmobile and the bad decisions. Well, not anymore. Possibly because they can't find a local Pet Boys, but also that whole fight fire with fire thing. Their enemies are using ancient Japanese techniques, so they shall adapt and use techniques against them that are even more Japanese. With that in mind, the art style changes drastically, and we find that Red Hood, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal as well, has discovered the whereabouts of Batman's arch nemesis. Problem is, he insists he and his wife are just trying to till the soil around here.
Do you expect me to believe the Joker has taken up farming?
Honey!
You too, Harley Quinn!
Oh, you know, I picked this movie because I figured there was no chance it was going to get anywhere close to uncomfortable. I guess we all make mistakes now, don't we? So Red Hood beats the shit out of them and is about to straight up execute the man before Batman intervenes, saving the farmer's life. Red Hood argues it's obviously the Joker and they have to take him out, but Batman has a soft spot for the guy. That and the fact that he's lost his memory and really does just want to farm the land in peace leaves Bruce to believe he's not a threat anymore anyway, so they leave the two of them to live in peace. Jeez, Joker, at least Grodd waited 5 seconds before the twist. Zooming the story ahead 1 month, Grodd declares for the narration that it's time for the big showdown. Thus, he takes the Joker's former palace mech castle robot base and orders it to march to the battlefield. At the same time, the Penguin, voiced by Tom Kenny,
Trojan Birdman Castle, spread your wings!
commands his palace mech castle robot base, which it just so happens to have. As does Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, and Two-Face. But they're not the only ones heading to the battlefield. There's also Batman and friends, who have horses. Yeah. Strangely enough, the giant fucking battle robots seem to take precedence in this fight, with everyone battling for the title of Shogun. and the power converters. Predictably, a bad coin flip results in Two-Face turning on Grodd, but he saw it coming and was more than prepared. Also, all this preliminary fighting is extra pointless when you consider Grodd has this little toy already. Remember that mind control shit he tried earlier? Turns out it actually does work. I guess.
What they do not know is that I actually manipulated them into building their fortresses too. Where do you think they got the technology?
Well, honestly, I just figure you ask a Japanese architect to build you a house, it transforming into a giant battle robot is just a standard feature. Also, surprise! It was never Grodd's intention to get home in the first place!
I'm going to rule this country and turn it into a kingdom of monkeys and rewrite the history of the world!
Well, how? How do you just turn the nation of Japan into the Planet of the Apes with a robot castle? And how exactly is changing the history of a very insular nation in very recent history going to affect the entire world on a major way? What? But before he can finish setting this up, who would just so happen to show up but the Joker himself, armed with smoke bomb flower things that really fuck everyone up.
Now it's time for a little payback.
The paralysis isn't permanent, but we're thinking about increasing the dosage.
I'm more interested in just how the hell the two of you can breathe in so much of this stuff and it's just not an issue. Not important, he just chucks Grodd and Catwoman out of the palace, meaning Batman has to swoop in to save them. But while he's helping those two, Joker can't help but notice that the mind control robot castle is still fully powered up, and he inputs the final command to go full-on motherfucking Voltron mode.
Unite and serve the sixth heavenly deity, Lord Joker!
Oh, okay. So, I have literally seen everything. Wow. Now that Batman is facing off against, well, that, he's pretty fucking screwed. Luckily for the team, Grodd just so happens to have a handy-dandy flute.
It controls my army of monkeys. Ugh. Use them to defeat the Joker.
Ah, it's the classic bad guy turned good guy turned bad guy turned good guy maneuver. Giving the flute to Robin, he and Monkey Chi use it to summon Grodd's monkey army, which is a goddamn monstrous horde of monkeys in samurai armor. While having them crawl all over Joker's mecha fortress Balam is moderately effective, Robin spins another tune to bring out the true power of the monkey army. Where they just kind of form together into Super Monkey. Okay, now I've seen everything. With Super Monkey on their side, our heroes rush forth to engage Joker's mech. But unfortunately, while the Monkey Kaiju can stand toe-to-toe with the Megazord, its flamethrower does some pretty disturbing damage to the cute things. However, there's also a massive army of bats that swoop in to save the day, using Wing Attack and Gust to put out the flames. These bats then form together into Super Bat, and then... Bat Monkey. Okay. Now I've seen everything. I really have to stop saying that. Anyway, Bat Monkey has our heroes in its very oddly formed hand and punches the giant robot castle right in the face. Which somehow doesn't kill them, instead dispersing select heroes to the various chambers where they may do battle with the villains at their leisure. But the important fight is between Batman and the Joker, where Joker explains that whole amnesia thing earlier.
It was the only way I could get the upper hand. I hypnotized myself to believe I was someone else so you would believe it.
Ah, so Joker hypnotized himself to lose his memory so that Batman would believe that he lost his memory and leave him alone in a situation where he had no idea where the Joker was and thought there was a very legitimate chance that he was dead. Joker, you know what's a little easier than hypnotizing yourself? Just laying low. As it happens, the plants he farmed were in fact the source of his paralyzing gas and also the trigger to snap him out of his memory loss. Ah well, enough exposition, it's time for battle! And as for Catwoman versus Harley Quinn...
Time for some girl-on-girl action.
Wait, really? I mean, after all the other shit we've seen in this movie, would that really be that surprising? Everyone fights their respective battles, but honestly, the most important thing is that the monkeys went back to step 1, swarm mode, and just chewed the fuck out of the mecha, destroying it rather quickly. With the rest of the baddies dealt with surprisingly fast, it comes down to Batman versus the Joker in a samurai showdown. Again, like all the action in this movie, it is shot well, but damn was it all worth it, as this fight goes above and beyond what we've already seen, with some pretty nasty back and forth between the two of them. Eventually, the fight gets so outrageously extreme, Batman starts pulling off some goddamn Dragon Ball maneuvers, teleporting his ass around and beating the Joker into a bruised and bloody mess.
Just let go. You can do it, can you?
And that, my friends, is how you get the bad ending. Which Batman doesn't want, therefore, happy ending! He saves the Joker from the fall he dropped him from. And now that all of Gotham's rogues gallery has been dealt with, and the time machine secured, they can say their goodbyes with the handful of friends they've made, and return to their proper time, possibly with a few extremely valuable relics. But hey, if killing God knows how many people and royally fucking up one entire third of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms really didn't do all that much to change the timeline, then exactly how bad would it be to swipe the dream of the fisherman's wife on the way out? Anyway, that was Batman Ninja, and you can't say they didn't give us exactly what they promised. Batman Ninja set out to do a Batman in Japan mashup set in the feudal era, and, well, just about all the running time takes place there. If you don't count pre- or post-credit sequences, then absolutely all of it takes place then. And I have to say, it's an interesting ride. From start to finish, the amount of new things thrown at the viewer from scene to scene just doesn't stop. Occasionally the movie will take a moment to try and explain the plot, but that's kinda hit and miss. At the start it felt like Selina was setting up a pretty awesome Batman video game, but that's one thing about this movie that is kind of a weak point. It might actually be able to tell the story better as a video game than as a film, considering beyond Batman, Joker, and Grodd, there was very little time spent on the other characters. Catwoman and the various Robins do a little, but Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, and the Penguin are almost just cameo appearances. They're supposed to be major players and leaders of their feudal nations, but besides existing, just what the hell do they do in this movie? But with how jam-packed the film was in terms of things going on and how fast the pacing was, I don't really think that it could have been remedied without extending the running time to something like 8 hours or more, hence the idea that this story might be better suited for a video game. Either way, Batman Ninja still has it where it counts, with an engaging story that mostly makes sense, spares some things that seem to be convoluted for the sake of being convoluted, and very nicely represented Batman characters in feudal Japan, coupled with those that just showed up for gym class. But for what it's worth, it mostly works, and the action is almost worth it on its own, coming in at 4 Bat-Monkey Kaiju Brawls with Revenge of the Pagoda out of 5. 2 things I never thought I'd see in a Batman movie. Not unless it came with a free sample of the Scarecrow's secret stash, but anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm Shado. And remember, fill up your tank, because you never know when you're going to wind up 200 years from the nearest station.
Time for some girl-on-girl action.